everybody, Reid Schlegel here. So I was asked by some of my fellow industrial designers to participate in the Industrial Design 7-Question Challenge. So in this video, I'm going to give my personal answer to 7 questions that have been compiled, and we're going to share it between all of our feeds. So please make sure to check out the box below to see all the other industrial designers who are also answering these questions to get a really diverse, interesting set of answers. So with that in mind, let's get started. So the first question is, industrial design is a fairly uncommon field. How did I get into it? So industrial design is a pretty uncommon field. It's not something that you see all the time. Instagram and different social media platforms have definitely made it a lot more prevalent. But even, 2008, when I went to college for it, it wasn't something people knew much about. But the way I found out about industrial design was actually through mechanical engineering. So I only applied to mechanical engineering departments at schools when I was in high school. Because when you were a kid, or at least for me, if you were creative, they told you to be an engineer or an architect. So I went through both of those phases. Obviously, if you've seen my Instagram work, you know I love architecture, and I pretend I'm an architect all the time, even though I have been getting some architectural work, which has been pretty fun. But I digress. So I was checking out Purdue University, which is in Indiana, where my grandfather and my cousin Chase went. So I was really encouraged to go there and check out their ID department. And this one random grad student who gave me a tour afterwards has said, "What do you like to do in your free time?" And I told him that I drew a lot, that I like to build things, that I had a workshop in my parents' basement. And he goes, "Oh, have you ever thought about industrial design?" And I had no idea what industrial design was. But this one, I wish I knew his name to save my life, but I can't remember it. This guy just took me over to the industrial design school, literally walked me several buildings over in his own free time, and showed me that they were working on these foam models and all these sketches and all these prototypes, and I was sold. I instantly went home, changed all my applications, and then instead of going into mechanical engineering undergrad, I did industrial design undergrad. Part of me still wishes I did mechanical engineering because I always wish there was at least a concrete answer to things, but the other part of me is very happy that I did industrial design because now I get to be much more creative and much more, wide thinking. Not that you don't do those in mechanical engineering, but obviously, if we've all worked together as ME and ID, we know we both bring different things to the table. So that's kind of how I found industrial design to begin with. All right, so question number 2. How do you explain your job to those who don't know about ID? So industrial design gets crazy expectations for what it is. It's a terrible name in my opinion. It's obviously coined by the originating industrial designers like Raymond Loewy and Walter Gropius Teague, hope they got that name right. Back in the 20s when we were actually building things for mass manufacturing or industrial production. Now, obviously, that name has a much wider, breadth of interpretations. So industrial design, people think that I have been asked, do you make factories? Do you do tractors? My high school friends all think that I doodle for a living. So you get a wide range of things that people think industrial design is. So when I actually try to explain it to people, I try to take it more from a lens away from industrial and design and think about it more as we are the communicators that kind of pull everybody together. So industrial designers obviously have to be super creative and be able to make things, come with great ideas, but at least in my experience, since I've only worked in the consulting field, and I've done it for the last 8.5 years, we are the people who have to kind of take everyone's ideas and pull them together into a really understandable place, especially for clients. So that's why we have the big set of skills. We have sketching, model making, CAD, rendering, speaking ideally, presentation making, design research, strategy, and all these things we have to kind of mush together into one. So instead of saying I'm just somebody who makes a pretty object or I'm somebody who solves a problem, I like to say that we are the conduit that kind of brings all the different people together, and we take all of that work and make it into something tangible that we can then put out into the world for people to use and ideally make someone's life or everyone's lives better as a result of it. Great. So question 3. What inspirations have developed your ID style? So I think that's kind of a hard thing to answer, but I thought about it before we did this video. And the first 2 that I'll mention are both of my grandfathers. So my mom's father was a commercial designer. So basically he was a madman type person in New York City back in like the 40s and 50s. He didn't go to college. He was a calligrapher and he did hand lettering, and he eventually made his way all the way up into the top of Madison Avenue, and he was very creative because of it. But unfortunately he died when I was 2, but I had the benefit of his studio was never dismantled. So when I would visit my grandmother, I would go up the stairs, top of the garage, and he had all of his old Sid Mead style sketches, his marker renderings, his markers, his T-squares, his pencils, all of his things out. And I used to just love sitting there and looking at his work. And it didn't really occur to me until years later that it kind of brought me into marker sketching, which brought me to Instagram and ultimately brought me to this video. So that was one of the first influences I had, was really being tactile and how you represent your ideas and communicate them to people. The second one was my father's father. So my other granddad, he was someone who was very, very hands-on. So he taught me how to build things from scratch. Starting by the age of 7, he and my grandmother gave me a different power tool every year for my birthday. So by the time I was in high school, I had a decent sized shop in the basement. So I learned how to build things and manufacture things, and knowing how to represent it how I wanted it to look through sketching and then build it in the actual shop was a way for me to really figure out how to solve problems. But when it comes down to aesthetics, I give a lot of credit to some of my previous mentors. When I first worked at Smart Design, Russell Blanchard was my first creative director, and he shaped me a lot. His style I can definitely see in my digital drawings, and he's somebody who I just took a lot of cues from on how to be very thoughtful of a design and thinking through even the tiniest details when you're making something. Then also one of my creative directors at Frog, Dino Sanchez, he has a beautiful furniture aesthetic where it's very clean and minimal. I definitely took that and ran with it a lot in some of my current work, and it's something that taught me how to not just make something functional, but make something that's just purely beautiful. I also took a lot of inspiration from my boss, Jonas Damon, who does a lot of really creative things, and someone who also has a very keen eye for aesthetics and is very beautiful simplicity. And then the last one was my other boss named Francois Wen, and he was somebody who taught me to really think wild and go out of the box. So not being so literal, like super clean furniture or products, but like what's the beautiful part of it? What's the part that gets you excited? What's the unexpected part? And how do you take those things and pull them all together? And then I meant one more. My current boss, Johan Lidden, he is just somebody who inspires me to just really make things as impeccable as possible. So between all those different people who have just shaped me throughout my career, I've kind of developed my style. But the thing that's kind of difficult to answer that question is I've been a consultant my whole career. So when you're a consultant, you have to switch from client to client, from brand to brand, from space to space very quickly and pretty frequently. So because of that, I never really developed a specific style. My style is to be a chameleon that can go in and solve a problem and figure out how to make it look attractive and also be functional no matter who the client is. So I think that is my style, is a little bit more of I can come in and figure it out and make it beautiful, but we're always going to try something new no matter what the product is. Okay, so question number 4. What company would you love to design a product for? So as I mentioned before, I have basically pretended I'm an architect for a long time, and I'm super fascinated by tiny homes and micro cabins and tree houses because I kind of feel like they're the perfect intersection of architecture and industrial design, where every single inch has to be planned for, and it's basically a functioning product. Things have to move, things have to live, they have to breathe. So it's not just a space, it's a space that must do things specifically. So I would love to work for any type of, client who would give me the free reign to design something like that. I don't have anybody specifically in mind. There's a few kind of Airbnb style tiny home apps out there I would love to work for, but that would be something that would really make me happy if I could do a project like that. Question number 5. What is your go-to industrial design tool and why? So I think these days I have 3. The first one is a classic, it's Sketchbook Pro. I love going in there just to quickly mock some things up, draw on top of sketches, draw on top of photos, especially when working with vendors, which is something that I've gone up in my career, I've done more and more of. So I need to be able to quickly just take an idea, draw on something, take a screenshot, send it back, and make sure it's crystal clear. So I use that all the time. I wish I had more time for full-blown digital renders, but that's something that is a little bit of a thing of the past because now we jump into CAD so quickly. But that being said, I think SolidWorks is my go-to software. After I get into the sketching phase, I pretty quickly go into SolidWorks and try to start modeling things up. Even if it's just quickly roughing it out, getting the volumes and the dimensions correct, that way I know I can go back and start sketching on top of that and realize that everything is going to be accurate to reality, and I'm not kind of designing myself into a fictional corner that I then have to figure out later when I have a deadline over my head and trying to render something. So SolidWorks is something I use all the time. And the last one has been very pertinent for quarantine, which is Google Jamboard. So it's a great software that allows you and other people to jump into a room and digitally sketch together. So I have the giant Microsoft Surface Pro, I think is what it's called, and I sketch on that all the time. But my coworkers have iPads or even just their phone, and we're able to get in there, collaborate and brainstorm together, and still feel like we're in the same room. So that's been extremely helpful and something that I'm using a lot these days. Okay, so question number 6. What is my least favorite part about industrial design? So as I mentioned in my previous question, the older I've gotten in my career, the more and more I'm directly interfacing with vendors, and that is something where when I'm managing projects, right now I think I'm working on 13 projects with my team, you have a lot of phone calls. So you end up spending most of your day actually on phone calls talking about things as opposed to actually designing. And the part that stinks about that is being on the US time zone. We're usually working with vendors in Taiwan, China, or Korea, and obviously there is a large time difference there. So we'll have lots of 7 a.m. phone calls, then an 8 a.m., then a 9 a.m., then a 10 a.m., and then sometimes we also have a 9:30 to 10:30. So you end up having super long days, and a lot of that time is spent on phone calls. So it's all a great learning experience, and it's a necessary part of design, but it's definitely something that I don't love to do as much as actually getting my hands dirty and designing something. Okay, so final question, number 7. What makes an industrial design good? So I feel like I've worked at a pretty wide range of consulting firms. When I worked at Smart, everything was all about user experience, design, research, and just making things that make products better. At Frog, it was much more about like big, high-level, meaty ideas. What could the future be? Where should that be going? And now at Arleden, it's much more about what is beautiful, what is on trend, what is going to be immaculately produced. So having all those things come together, I really feel like there's 2 things that are most important. The first thing is making somebody excited and wanting to own it, and that means making a beautiful and functional product. If a product is not beautiful, no one's going to want to pick it up, and it doesn't matter how much it's going to improve their lives, you need to make them excited about it to want to have it in their life to begin with. The second thing, like I started to mention, is making sure you're always improving something. You can't just put something out in the world just because you can. I really don't like that mentality. I feel like you should always be doing something, even if it just moves the scale of humanity a tiny bit. We should always be focused on making sure we are the arbiters of change, and we are the people who are doing our damnedest to make life better for everybody. So I know those are pretty lofty things, but that's something I strive for in most projects, and not always successful, but as much as I can, I try and make sure I get those things into everything that I design. All right, great. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope this was informational. I hope it wasn't boring. This is just a little bit of my perspective on design. I'm super curious to listen to everyone else's videos and see what the other participating industrial designers have to say on these questions. Please, if you have any questions of your own, comment below. I would love to hear from you. Obviously, this is not just about me. This is about the industrial design community, and I want to really make sure we have a dialogue here about this. So thank you all for listening. I hope you liked it, and have a good rest of your week. Bye, everybody.